characters that's there on the face of the dollar bill, right? The United States Treasury and the Treasurer of the United States. Who in the fuck is these motherfuckers and where's they at? And how is they making contracts and don't nobody know that they made a contract?
Exactly.
Right? So
Right.
under the Fair Debt Collection Act nullifies, voids out all of the contracts for what we call non-disclosure in law. The non-disclosure is they never told you that they were an interim government that was operating to reestablish the original governments of the land. Instead, they went rogue and decided to establish their own government on our land under the pretense that we will never figure out who we are. We will always think that we Moors, and we'll never know that we was at odds with the Moors in order to establish this land over here as the original de jure occupants of the land. When you get to the history, it tells you clearly that the Moors used to auction off the POWs, and you can find that in a book called Moors and Freemasonry, where it's talking about the auctions and the different prices is the status of the ones being auctioned. All of that's in there, but they thinking that it means something else. That's slave. That's the slave block. Them motherfuckers, they was POWs, they was ransoming off, was us. They was selling us between themselves to do their bidding for them and to have children so they can kill us off and raise our kids and never know who they were. So now we don't know who he is. Our knowledge is took, a state of darkness, triple darkness, eternal death. And the only way to come back from it is to come back to life. Kill your straw man, your doppelganger, your imposter. Once you kill your imposter by asserting your 5/5 status in the public domain by public notice with no paperwork attached, because that's the trick. The barristers have it set up where anything that you file, driver's license, birth certificates, all of these adhesion contracts is designed, nationality cards. When you start signing this paperwork with these people, we already been infiltrated. So they designed to take you right back to the system.
Mm.
So the good question just came up. What about the American rights of the indigenous people? That's the I fucked you good note on the prostitute's dresser when the John is leaving.
Damn.
That's the I told you that all your shit belonged to me, but now I'm telling you I was just lying and I fucked you good. That's
So,
all it's saying. They just telling us what we already know, but they had to tell it to us because they're not gonna believe it coming from one of us.
and that's the problem. Don't nobody believe nothing we say. They are, if the Caucasian ain't said it, then it's not true. That's what's the
And
problem.
this is the reason why that exists. Because the dirty Moors, blacker Moors and tawny Moors, use pale faces to block institutions to keep us from discovering what they doing.
Exactly. You got
And
that.
this is what was keeping us from developing to 5/5 realization status, is because they hijacked the lodges. They came in hostile, according to Noble Drew Ali, 32-degree Scottish Rite Red Lodge. That's the motherland. They infiltrated the motherland first. That means they sent some stinking riding coochie bitches up into the families'
Damn.
harems and fucked up the families. She came in acting like she believed in the sisterhood, and then she found her head sister and bust her in the head.
Mm.
And
So,
then soon as the chief said something about it, she poisoned it with hemlock.
so now I'm hearing, like I said, I'm around everywhere, but people don't see me. I'm just there. Now we got this thing. Okay, we're on the track of who we are if they do the genealogy, but then you have people saying that we actually mix with some Europeans, is where a lot of our last names coming from, and they are the European royalty bloodline. Is reason, I guess, to say that's why royalty is in America. But if you look over in Europe, ain't shit there. So where did they get their royalty from?
And their name's not Smitten Jones. Ours is.
Exactly.
Ours was the name. We had the names. They took
But
the name.
they're giving people the what you call it? Like when you trace your name back to a what's that emblem? You have the
Family crest.
yeah, the family crest. Now,
Okay, so look, these names conceal tribal identities. Jones is,
mm-hmm,
remember, the J 500 years old. We've been here longer than that.
mm-hmm.
Jones is Ionis. Ionis means fish.
Mm,
So the Jones clans was the clans who used to fish the rivers and the lakes on the land.
that's what's up.
Yep. My
Okay,
The
people.
what about
Johnsons, the
okay?
Johnsons, remember there was no J. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yanan. Yanan is the light bringers.
Mm.
You know, I
So
like
the children of the ones who was the light bringers, which was priests in the community, was called Johnsons. So it's just so many things that they tricked us with that unveiling all of the tricks in one day would probably make a motherfucker drop dead at the end.
So what about okay? One of my surnames is Walker.
Right. The Walkers is the Skywalkers. That's Big Tukey clan. The Skywalkers used to live in villages and treetops, so they burnt all the trees down.
Mm.
They was fearless. They was the ones when you watch the Great Wall, you see the women in the blue fighting those dragon bitches. That those were Skywalkers,
Oh, okay.
right? When you pull up treetop villages, you still got different tribes around the world that still got treetop villages. We had them. You used to be able to leave New Orleans in the treetops and don't even come down from the
Down
tree
on the bed. Yeah, I
until you got to Florida.
and you were absolutely right because the first thing they did on Claiborne Avenue was cut down all the trees because
that,
that's how
that
people
goes
felt.
back. That goes back to the story that these clowns is teaching the Africa story that I was listening to. That niggas was Homo sapiens sapiens that lived up in the trees. Then one day, one of the Homo sapiens came down out the tree and started living on the land.
Look, we lived on the land. We got tribes that dive under the water. They call that's where your mermaid myth came from.
Yes.
If you pull them up, it's a tribe in South Africa that's known for diving in the ocean. That's a mermaid clan, right? And they take the word mer and say that mean more too. I would be shaking my goddamn head, right? But everything with an M and an R in it is under the dogma. Remember, it's the difference between the morals and the dogma. Under the dogma, anything with an M and an R in it is a more. If it's in the history books to prove they lie, that we've been called Moors, you can't find nowhere over here we was Moors before
I
1492.
cannot find
It's
nothing. I tell you,
and,
I've been
and anybody that want to produce it, go ahead, produce it, because you're gonna be the made that shit up.
Now I heard
that.
the people in the islands was also.
Go ahead, sweetie, go
Oh,
ahead.
you fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. Now remember, when Columbus came, they said they was going to India, right? This shit don't make no sense, but I'm gonna tell the story how they tell it. So he was finna find an alternative trade route to India by going east. Ain't that the story they tell us in school? All right, and once he got here, he mistaken the people on the land with the people from India. That's what they told us, ain't it? And at that time, the people of India was primarily something called a Dravidian. So if you pull up a picture of a Dravidian, then you'll see who he thought he was bumping into. But neither here nor there. The problem with that storyline that they was telling us in school is India was Hindustan into the 1900s. So where in the fuck does he think he going? Right? So when they was coming over here, they knew where they was going because his navigator, Pietro del Negro, was a blackamoor and he was running the show. The navigator ran the ship, not the captain. Because the captain can't get nowhere if the navigator don't tell him where to go. So the navigator is a blackamoor, Etruscan, named Pietro del Negro. This is all in the history books. You can look this shit up. It's easy to find since I don't never have no receipts for the shit I be saying. But this shit is too easy to find for me to be making it up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find out in the logs that he ran into the most loving, kind, and peaceful people we ever seen in his life, they'll make a perfect motherfucker to a goddamn motherfucking sack. So Christopher Colombo, is the investigator who's traveling with the navigator. Now remember, he went to Isabella and Ferdinand to get finances for the trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secret relation between blacks and Jews say it wasn't the Jews, Jewels, of Ferdinand and Isabella that paid for Columbus's trip. It was her Jews. If you pull up the Jewish brooch, the Blackamoor Jewish brooch, they all wear them in allegiance to the royal family that they aligned with. They wear the brooch. It's a nigger face, a Blackamoor. Big lip, soup cooler, nappy head motherfucker. That's a piece of jewelry in Europe. So when you listen to Dr. John Henry Clark, he said they didn't call them Jews because they was from Judah. They called them jewels because of the jewelry. These motherfuckers' faces was on the jewelry.
Mm.
And so he gets backed up by Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben say us the black Jews, and he goes into the historical record of the people that's called Etruscans and the difference in the other peoples. It's right in the book. You know, most people are not gonna read it, but Dr. Ben put it out there for a reason, and there's some good information in there. My Pan African studies didn't fail to teach me that I'm from over here. I'm not from no goddamn Africa. I didn't come on no slave ship. I was already here. I've been so long. I've been here so long. Here wasn't even here when I got here.
That part.
And so since we've been here so long, I'm gonna remember who the fuck I am, cause that's my job. Because Mama said if you don't know who the fuck you is, you ain't gonna never know who nobody is. What
Mm.
the fuck she mean by that? And then I read in the philosophers, they say in the pyramids it's written, man, know thyself. Well, that don't mean I ain't gotta know another motherfucker. I just know who I am.
And we
Yeah.
got that's right. That's what's most
Right.
important. As long as you know who you are.
And the rest of it gonna tell itself because those who not from the same heart link as me and my families, they will not stand up to the scrutiny. They're gonna kick, scream. Then this is the craziest part. No matter how much you bust their ass in the head with the facts, they're gonna send the lowest level of student, the least qualified to challenge what you're saying, to challenge you. And they're gonna have a whole fucking tantrum. Like they really saying something, but the
Mm.
whole time them motherfuckers ain't saying shit. We them feather wearing motherfuckers that run around the goddamn campfire on that fire water talking about, ooh, them us.
Now, with that being said, what's the rhetoric behind the $5 Indians? Is those the chief that, like, let's say, for instance, Kyle had it in Pocahontas, right? There's a lot of, like,
Yeah, she
misconception
was
or just this.
Pocahontas was a human traffic rape victim. That's what she was. She was being um, held hostage by a captor. She was the queen of the land that they had subjugated, and the rest of the queens knew who she was, and she gave them a heads up all the way across the land on the journey. See, they
Mm.
don't tell y'all that because they don't want you to know that we ain't never laid down to these motherfuckers. We just readjusted to re-strategize. And they told me, Rod, you gonna be the one figure this shit out. And I'm like, not me. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the goddamn drawer. She said you don't got to be the sharpest
That's
knife in the
right.
drawer. You just got to be sharp enough to cut something. So
That's
I've just been
right.
running around cutting the fuck out they shit everywhere I see it. This a lie, but cut this motherfucker too with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So
And the truth cuts more than anything else.
yeah, worst thing you can tell a motherfucker is the truth. Look, you can lie on a nigga and he'll laugh at you. You tell the truth on him, he'll shoot you in your face.
Yep. And
That's
that's a
right.
fact. That's a
That's
fact.
fact.
These Negroes so lost out here, they'll argue with you and argue with you, but don't know nothing about their damn bloodline. They'll argue with you about being out of Africa. They'll argue with you about Egypt. Is that, you know, and the sad part about it, if they said they kidnapped you from the west coast of Africa, what do Egypt got any damn thing to do with west coast Africa? That's two different countries, and not only that, that's different cultures. But
Listen,
these niggas want to be Egyptians.
Egypt is as far from Ghana as New York is from Hawaii,
Facts.
if not further.
Mm, mm,
But you know, we over here don't realize that in the motherland they got warring tribes. You got tribes of invaders and tribes that's been there since the beginning. The ones that have been there since the beginning, they never stopped fighting the motherfucker. That's why you had Ethiopians starving, the Arabs that had taken Sudanese and Somalians and Southern Egyptians and Algerians and for slaves for hundreds of years. This shit ain't none of this shit new. How do we find out or translate from the real alphabets, and how are the same names in Europe and America? How do we know if history is based on this soil or across the pond when the names being same? The whole purpose of, leave that up for a minute. The whole purpose of using the same names is to confuse people. You got to remember that part.
yep.
That's Anunnaki war strategy. When you go to Genesis, when you look at Cain's children, they named after Seth's children, or vice versa, right? Uh, it's difficult to learn how to translate it because you have to come into a certain knowledge of self in order to be able to see all of their tactics. When you learn how to read, excuse me, when you learn how to read your own thoughts, then the spirit come in. When the lie come up, nature tells you with an alert system, but most of us don't know our alert system. Some of us get a gut feeling, some of us get goosebumps, some of us get a headache, some of us our eyes jump, our ears ring. But we always, when we running down the wrong path, we get these intuitive reactions that the body is responding to nature telling you them niggas lying to you. Don't believe that shit. Don't trust that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
So we stop teaching our children to listen to the inner voice because our school systems that we've been attending teaches them that the inner voice is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't never listen to the inner God because they've been told that the inner God is the devil. Devil mean enemy. The devil is the motherfucker telling you that shit. He said, okay, so the when you read, this was a good one. Georgetown University has a book called History of the World by Georgetown University. Oxford also have a book called Oxford University History of the World, and they some huge books. And when you read them, they don't read the same. The world history that Europe give is not the world history we get in America.
Mm.
The European world history give us more details. It shall tell us the fake names and the real names of a lot of the players, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we don't know that because we over here studying this from Americans' perspective. The American perspective is a colonizer's attempt to keep the colonized under control by teaching them a specific doctrine in education. Say teaching you in a Skinner box using the Pavlovian response system how to be a servant and usable on a workforce to keep their system afloat. Our people never mind working, but we're not gonna work for the enemy, not knowingly. And so they can't never let us know that the enemy is who we working for. Because when we realize it, we're going to do the same thing they wrote about in the history books. They say the Native American doesn't make a good slave. The natives we found when we tried to force them to the field labor will sit in one place and refuse to move even until he starved to death.
Mm.
So they already know that we gonna follow something that the Chinese call the Wu Wei. The Wu Wei is one I got from RZA, by the way, from the Wu Tang Clan. But the Wu Wei is to do something, nothing in order to accomplish something. That
Mm.
means sit on your ass in order to win. That's all it takes. Divorce yourself from the entire system. Go home and sit down and watch this bitch burn.
That's exactly what. That's
Take
right.
your motherfucking ball and go home. This your ball. The game over when you take your ball and go home because you're the only one with a ball on the field.
We the
Yep.
only. That's right. We the quarterbacks around here. That's right. They need our energy. I've been saying that.
So when I refer people to the Indigenous Rights Act of the United Nations and the Indigenous Rights Act of the United States, the reason why I do that is because before these motherfuckers left, they had to tell you that all of the rights they've been stealing from you, they had to count them out, the ones they stole, and tell you we didn't even have the jurisdiction to take that from you. It was good fucking you while we had you. But now since you got into the gig that I'm really got little dick energy and I'm really short on the motherfucking delivery, I can go on and leave now. And this is your note saying goodbye. That's all it is. They fucked us good, told us how they fucked us, and left us a note on the dresser on their way out.
Then we just need to get their asses up out of here, though. That's the whole main part. Because as long as
That
they're
ain't even the hard part, though. Getting them out of here ain't even the hard part. In the because most of the dirty players have been rounded up at the highest levels. The little minions that's left, Angel Bay and them gonna clean them dirty moors up so fast y'all ain't gonna even know it was ever a dirty moor in existence.
I
I'm not
sure.
worried about that. The Almighty Peace Stones is not gonna
well,
play with them.
the Caucasians are the Moors.
No,
No.
them
Mm-mm.
motherfuckers look like us, but they not us.
Okay,
That's right.
yeah, that's
Right.
what we already said. The head honcho who's running the bullshit look like us, but we talking about these old dusty motherfuckers that's running around here thinking they slick. They selling off. Well, they really ain't selling the land. They're selling what's on the land. Because see, they got the Chinese coming up in here. The Chinese just
All that smoke and mirrors, sweetie.
That
okay.
sure is.
See,
Yeah.
so they
Backdrop.
want you to think that the problem is bigger than Earth itself, so you won't even attempt to fix it. All of them pale people in positions of power is controlled by one of these dirty blackamoors,
Mm-hmm.
what they call more Zionist Jews. Them the motherfuckers been running the show ever since they been here.
Frida said, "What about these Siberian chinos? Uh, these Siberian huskies."
You talking about what she talking about
$5.
Yeah, it's
look.
alone.
Okay, so the $5 Indians is in groups.
Mm-hmm.
You got some of them that turned on the people that made them $5 Indians.
Mm-hmm.
They got exposed to us, and they love for us. They was like, "Fuck them people that brought us over here. We with you." Those are the ones that was entrusted to hold tribal secrets in sweat lodges over the peace pipe. But the ones that we don't want to fuck with, you'll know them in a minute because they not gonna recognize us as nothing but some niggas. That's
Mm-hmm.
how you know the $5 Indians that I'm about to talk about next.
That's
So they
right.
had chiefs that was made chiefs by Andrew Jackson, I think it was. He can't make no motherfucking chiefs over here because he ain't no goddamn chief from over here.
There you go.
So, and
Exactly.
he ain't got no mitochondrial right to knight no man chief on this land. This is the law of the land. When you go back to the lady and talking to the Pope, she's talking about a higher law, the law of the land. She put that motherfucker on notice and said, we got the chiefs assembled. That got to be known to us. I've been screaming this shit for motherfucking 3 years now. Oh, I've been working my whole life since I can remember. I remember shoveling snow when I was 4, 5 years old. So I know that, work is part of being who we are. But it comes a point like now. I'm done with this system. I'm done with the way they run this system. I'm done with the falsehood, the lies, the bullshit, the deceit, the treachery, the fake love, the fake hugs. I'm tired of all of that. So I don't want no more parts of it. I'm done participating in foolishness and ignorance. I'm done. So if you think that I'm just going to accept it because you said it, you're probably about 98% wrong. I'm not going to just accept it because you said it. And if you think I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, then you come show me what you think I'm supposed to be doing. And that's how I say that for anybody listening. If somebody tell you you're not doing your part to a sin, you tell them to show you what the hell they think you ought to be doing if they think you're not doing it right. Because there is no blueprint for majority of us. The blueprints are all in the Catholic Church, and we have them. They written. Step-by-step instructions to a sin at any given day of the week. We have that. But Francis don't want to release it as that parasite in them been holding the documents hostage. But we don't need them. Because we didn't always have things written on paper. We got stuff written in our DNA. If we follow the DNA, if we follow the obstacle, what make us emotionally struggle, then we'll find the path. Because fear, pain, and misery are the tools of control. If you study, did the volume go down again? Facebook be doing that, so I just be sitting here in the same spot and the volume will go up and down on its own. Anyway, so if you study and you do your part, then the only person can tell you whether you're doing it correctly or incorrectly Can you hear me now, Don? Anybody can chime in if y'all can hear me. I don't know what's going on with this Facebook situation. They've been trying to stop me for a long time from delivering information. So it don't really matter. I'm still gonna put it out. Oh, okay. Okay, so here we go. The blueprint is on your DNA. So you're gonna have these urges, feelings. You're gonna be angry at stuff that don't make sense to you. That's because you're supposed to think through it. You're gonna feel heartbroken about a relationship and the person you ain't seen in years. That's because you're supposed to think through it. Why am I feeling this way? What does this mean? How do I handle this experience? Yep. When you put all these things together in your mind while you're going through these erratic emotions, you start making the emotion make sense. When the emotion begin to make sense, this is where you at mentally. Raising it from here, you at the eye level. When the emotions start to make sense, emotions don't make sense. Emotions generally don't make sense. They're irrational. But when they start making sense, you've raised your mental and your emotional to a similar level. You know what I'm saying? You raise them to a similar level. Now the emotions and the mind working together. This is the ascension. When that harmony, that divine masculine, divine feminine within start playing off each other. Because the brain, right side of the brain is feminine, left side masculine. Right brain creative, left brain is organizing. So it's linear logic. Right brain is abstract artistic. Left brain is linear mathematic. So when you can bring the two together, then the artistic abilities start to make sense to the mathematics, and the mathematics start to be beautiful to the artistic. So you start making the two come together. And then this is when the king and queen chamber start to communicate regularly. That's what they call the sacred union in your brain. Well, in the 3D world, ceremonial magic works the best and is strongest for this reason. It gives us a point of reference. And that's the hardest thing to get when you're doing a silent meditation, is a point of reference, because you're in a free fall through upper ranks of dimensions. You're in a free fall up. And normally you fall down. That's how we got here when they blew that collider the last time and they made us come into this 3D realm and get stuck. But when we start to fall up and we're trying to orient to the chaos around us, because you're going through straight chaos as we going up. When we get to the top, now we can look over it and we can put the chaos in its correct order. This is what they call ascending to your God self, when you start to put the chaos in your mind in the correct order. All of these processes take place inside the self. You gotta conquer the irrational thought, right? The irrational thought comes from the emotions being expressed in mental imagery. Like, you got different learning styles. You have some people that learn through the feeling, they can feel it. Some people learn through the sound, they can hear it. Some people learn through the sight, and they can see it. And some people learn through the taste and smell, olfactory, and they can smell it, they can taste it. All these different sensations. Then you got some people that learn through all of them together. Omniscient, they can learn through any of it. When this takes place, you have to unite the mind stuff with the heart stuff, the creative and artistic with the intellectual and the mental. And when you do this, this is what causes all of those chakras to start spinning at a rapid rate. As they spin, it shoots the energy up to the next chakra. Most of us are blocked at the heart chakra by black goo. Now, I'm not going to deal with black goo because I dealt with it before. Y'all can look it up. The energy workers around the world is already telling y'all this black goo is a bad dude. It's hard to get out of the heart chakra. And it's a combination of science and what we call magic or sorcery. It's not just one. It's a combination of science and sorcery. They put them together to make them the most powerful force we could face. And it's been holding us back a long time. Yes. I like how you thinking, Curtis Henderson, because I'm gonna inbox you later, because we're gonna do some work together, because you bring up stuff that'll help a lot of people. Okay, so now when we looking in to the 3D world, we get stuck on the car, the house, the dog, and the mailman. Bullshit. That shit is passe. But they tell you not to be selfish. Now check this out. If you're trying to attain God status, they say you don't be selfish. But then as soon as you get God status, they say you God. All of it is about you. That's selfish. So that's a contradiction again. So you got to look for the contradictions, and then you got to find out, why are they there? Why is the contradiction there? Because the contradiction is there to get your attention. It ain't there haphazardly. It's there to get your attention. Why is it telling you God stuff this way, guys think like this, and you can't think like a mortal because mortal think like this, and it's the same shit. You know, it's the same shit. Yeah, they've been putting in a lot of movies about the black goo. As a matter of fact, the most popular one is Venom from Spider-Man. Venom is a personified black goo creature. And they kind of work something like that, but they only talk through the heart chakra. Meaning that when you, like for instance, my curse was unrequited love. So I'm probably going to be single till I die. Well, I'm good with that. Because as soon as I tell somebody I love them, it's over with. The relationship done. No, I can't do nothing to hold on to it because that's the curse. And it is tied to the black goo. When the black goo was removed from me, one of my students took it out. The Green Ape, Dariel, took the residual black goo out. And he was like, man, what is this? I was like, it's the black goo, man. I didn't even go into it with him at that point. But ever since then, things has been happening at an alarming rate, and opening my eyes to a lot of things. One of the things is the process of the judgment day. We all right, India. We got this under control, sweetie. So the judgment day, when the processes take place in the body, and we start to move up in the ascension, we start to see what it means about judgment day. See, everybody think that judgment day means God gonna come up there like the judge in the courtroom, hammer the gavel and give you a sentence, and it don't work like that, or with the gods, or with the ascended masters, or none of that. That's not how judgment day works. Somebody had to call judgment day. The curses are different, Juanita, but your life path, when you step back and you don't look at your life that you was living, you look at it from a third person perspective. Watch how you lived your life, and everything time something was going good, you did or said something, and then it all went south. Within a couple of weeks, it all goes south real fast. Your curse is whatever it was you did is the manifestation of it. Soon as like for instance, some people are not allowed to have wealth. You can work and do good, but soon as you cross a certain dollar barrier, you lose everything you got. You lose everything you got and you can't control it. And this is why a lot of celebrities die poor. Because that's their curse. Some people curse to not be allowed to have wealth. They can have everything in the world, but they can't have money. They can't accumulate wealth. That was a part of mine too. Because I can get the money. That's not hard. Getting money is easy. So once you learn how to ascend to your God self internally, and you know that for some people, ceremonial rites is what they call it, ceremonial magic. Ceremonial rites can accelerate the ascension. And then you know that when you start feeling all this crazy stuff inside, watch the thought. Remember, the thought is the cause of it all. Watch the thought. Let's say, for instance, it's one of your kids who you love dearly, and something say, kill that motherfucker. That's not you. You have to confront that. That's not you telling you to kill your child. That's not you telling you to kill the person that you love that sleep next to you. That's not you. And most of us think because it happens inside our own head that it's our own thought. But we never realized that when we was growing up, we picked that shit up from every foul spirit being around us that was not right. You know? Yeah, Juanita, message me, inbox me on Messenger, and we'll get together and find out what you need. If one feels less of an emotion in the heart for someone, but has surpassed the feeling, is that part of ascension process? First of all, the love energy that radiate through the heart chakra, if it attaches to another person's heart chakra, ain't no breaking that shit. Y'all became soulmates whether you wanted to or not. And normally this is why people are supposed to get married in monogamous marriages, is because they found somebody that they can face the world with, and they don't have the worry of when I go to work, is a plumber in my house. They don't that don't even cross their mind, you know. But you want to make a connection with a person. I'm gonna tell y'all the biggest and most neglected. Just Jasmine, you can inbox me when you get it. The biggest connection that we make with another person is by seeing the best parts of that person and cultivating that in the other person. So when you look at relationships now, this is what we see. Guy meet a chick, he thinks she hot, she think he hot. Okay, now, at that point, that's pure animal lust. He don't know nothing about her, she don't know nothing about him, so there can be no compatibility other than the physical attraction. That's what you call animal lust. But the conversation takes off, and then they find out they have this many things in common. They make a connection. Where you lost it, Jacqueline? Anytime, Ashley, just inbox me when you're ready, and if I'm not doing nothing, I'll chat with you. Ascension is death for the ego, realizing real eyes all is one. Hey, I just went over that, because I was told by some of my enlightened brethren that I had to let go of the ego. Then I let go of the ego. You know what they told me? You God. Now you got to have an ego. Contradiction. Why is it there? Right? Now think about this. The gods run shit. And they have to feel like they supposed to run shit. They got to feel like they deserve the right to be in the position of power. They got to know it without a doubt. What's the difference in the fucking ego trip? What's the difference in the Messiah complex in an actualized God concept? And you can love someone without any benefit to yourself, that's ascension, but you can never lose the ego. Whew, y'all coming at me with this one. Y'all coming right and exact. Okay, so the ascension has nothing to do with outside of itself who you can love. The ascension has to do with how well your love can be purified with your purified thoughts. That is when you get to ascension. Because once you purify the thought, there's nothing low vibration left. That's why they call it purification. What's going on, Chris? Then the emotional purification. When you clear the emotions, when you clear that shit up, you clear the emotions up by not feeling negative emotions towards somebody you love, which took me into the relationship thing. Guys, girls meet. It's the attraction first, the chemistry next. But nobody knows what to do next, because what you're going to understand is we are creatures of habit. As creatures of habit, if you meet a new guy, if you're a girl, if you meet a new girl, if you're a guy, you're going to do all of the dumb shit you did that sabotage every relationship you ever had. When you go back and look at all of the dumb shit you did in your past relationships, you got to do it all at the beginning. Both of y'all, not just one of y'all, both of y'all going to do the same dumb shit, but it's not going to work. Because you're on another level now. So when all of that dumb shit don't work, all that foolishness not working now. Now you sitting here with this person and you exhausted all of the ignorance. Ignorance is exhausted at this point, and you looking at this person like, I still love them. I done did the dumb stuff, the ignorant stuff, the foolish stuff, the retarded stuff, the sick stuff, and they still here. They love me too. We got to make this work. Most people gone by now. And that's what when we got rid of the rites of passage, this is how our minds created one for us. In order for us to weed through the weak relationship to find a solid relationship, we learn a series of foolish and ignorant things that run weak people away. If the relationship is beginning off as a weak relationship, what we learn going through relationships teaches us how to get rid of the riffraff. But then there's always one we can't get rid of. They're either still standing there physically, or when we physically leave, they attach to us emotionally and we can't break the attachment. Sometimes that's due to other outside factors like blood rights or agreements made that haven't been correctly severed, contracts, soul contracts like that. But sometimes there's no contract involved. It's just the truth. And that also is a perfect candidate for you to do a ceremonial ascension with another person. And people keep forgetting that we can do that.
women get bitchy. Why do women get bitchy in a relationship? They losing their power and the man is not doing anything to empower her as a woman. That's fine, Jacqueline. Inbox me. As long as a man don't do nothing to empower a female as a woman, a relationship is going to always be rocky. As long as he's chopping her knees off every time she tries, and the same with him, as long as she's bringing him down every time he's trying to move forward and upward, the relationship not going to last. It can't work. Right? So we get to a point in our ascension where we start to see the rules to Judgment Day. Now I'm going to go over young Pharaoh, who I love that brother to death. That brother, he one of the Grail Kings too. I don't even know if he aware of it, but I think he is. You know what, Chris? I'm not gonna deal with the attachment in the Buddha right now. But we're gonna touch on that. So on another video we'll go over some of the teachings of the Buddha and Dalai Lamas of the past, and maybe even some of the other great teachers, and what they were really talking about. The attachment that the Buddha talk about is attachment to the negative vibrations, the low vibration things that you attach to, because you got to attach to something anyway. All right, so now we ready to ascend. We ready to move to the next level, but there's a problem. We still got to clean this mess up. You can't go to nobody's house, mess their kitchen up, and just leave. That's rude, dirty, obnoxious. That's just foul. So before we can ascend into the fifth dimension, we have to clean it up. What do I mean by that? We have to show the people a lot of the deception out in the open in real time. So last week I heard young Pharaoh and General Seti called Dr. York out to judgment. Now, it sounds like they offered a debate to Nuwabians. So if you're a Nuwabian or if you know one, y'all need to pay attention. Pharaoh produced a document. It was a herpes test. And this herpes test is what they call in court, they call it a statement of fact. It's a statement of fact because it's medical evidence that has to follow a chain of command in the court system, and following the chain of command, it is presented as a piece of evidence to support the allegations and why they're there. So Pharaoh produced the document, right? That's part one. Now, if the other two parts not met, he's not calling for a judgment day. Second part. The second part is the vexation of the grievance. Now, the vexation of the grievance is supposed to be rude, obnoxious. Who you looking for? Oh, here you go. So, the vexation of the grievance. A classic example. A classic example of vexation of grievance is Tupac. Tupac done everything by the code of righteousness. That's crazy, because some of the stuff he was doing, you would think he was dead wrong. But the vexation of the grievances is the most critical part of the equation. So they went through a series of vexations of the Catholic Church being condemned for pedophilia, black people concealing in their families and in their communities the same shit that the Catholic Church doing. And before we can go deal with Francis and his pedophile priests, that we have to first clean our own communities up. That was the grievance vexed by young Pharaoh, followed by Seti putting the final call for judgment on Dr. York. And that being to say that they represent the ancestors. At that point, I can't, even if I'm a Nuwabian, I can't defend or condemn York. I have to listen to the facts. Because when the facts is presented, it's a couple things that has to take place. The public, the more eyes see if it's a valid or invalid judgment on York, the more eyes see it, the more powerful it be. So the judgment that's taking place with York is critical for his liberation if you a Nuwabian. And I see you, Christ. So Seti said, this is real. I'm standing here for my ancestors. At that point, Judgment Day. The third prong of calling for judgment has been met. I don't care if the Nuwabians defend him or not. They should if they think he's innocent. And if he turns out, we have to use the judicial.
Yeah, they not.
Yeah,
Man,
they calling them illegal aliens.
Yeah,
and they the ones who's got the blood right to the land, and that's why they keep coming home.
dang, that's crazy.
Okay,
go ahead.
let's move on. Okay, so now they didn't made their trek across the land. You see how it is now?
Yeah,
It includes all that land that we was talking about.
yeah,
Right? You see that on the right side, it looked like stair steps going up.
yeah.
The Rocky Mountains is the natural separation right there.
Yeah. Look how it was all the way up there. Damn near almost. That's all California pretty much. And then some of like Oregon and like Utah, some of Utah. Yeah. Texas. Yeah.
You can side by side compare it to a modern American map.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, the blue part, now look at it, the United States of America, then cross the Appalachians and move to the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now they back against the Rockies. They got the Mexicans over the hills from them. And this is the Mexican-American War. This is the American invasion to wrestle. The English want to wrestle the country from the Spaniards.
Dang, that's crazy, bro. Right there, too.
Okay, now, by treaty, this is what they annexed from them. Annex means that you hold part of the treaty back until certain conditions is met. Now, Mexico is just as oil rich as Saudi Arabia damn near. Let's pull up Mexico oil reserve.
Okay, let's get them.
Mexico don't nobody need to be poor in Mexico. When I get done showing you what I'm about to show you, nobody in Mexico should be poor.
Man, crack. Hey, somebody say Rod Hayes get these niggas, man. Look at the all reserve. Damn.
Go to the main page so it can tell you how much they got.
Oh, look. What? Fortune. What? Let go. Real quick. So they got 50. Magnitude.
Go back to the main page because we want to see.
Okay, let me go back.
Okay, go to all at the top.
I got you. Let me get this out of the way. It says 58 billion barrels.
5.8 billion barrels.
Yeah, from here. Yeah.
Okay, what it say in 2021? Crude oil reserve in Mexico amounted to 5.8 billion barrels, a decrease of 50% from the 10.5 billion barrels reported in 2009. Mexico is the second largest crude oil producer in Latin America, ranking behind Brazil.
Damn.
Why they poor? That ain't all.
Yeah, go ahead. Get these niggas, right?
Right. So pull up Mexican mineral wealth.
Mexico is amongst the world's largest producer of oil, silver, copper, gold, lead, zinc, natural gas, and wood. Other minerals such as mercury, cadmium, anonymous magnesium, iron, and coal, and also are found.
Okay, now look, before you go any further, see the dark print?
So, yeah, amongst the world's largest producers of oil, silver, copper, gold, lead, zinc, natural gas.
So again, why is they leaving Mexico to come up here for a fucking job?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Now, all the same, pull up Texas oil production. This would have been Mexico wealth too, had America not annexed Texas.
Crude oil, 15,000?
15 point.
Okay, it's a point.
612 million barrels.
Damn. That's why Texas is one of the richest states up in the United States. It's more billionaires in Texas than anywhere.
Right. Now watch this.
Yeah.
This oil is not traded on the only open market. The American military buy all American made oil for the National Reserve. All of this oil, they've been buying it from the producers or the producers. They've been buying the oil and they've been saving it for critical times. In case, because remember, they defeated Japan by cutting off their fuel supply.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what made the Japanese become kamikaze or wind warriors, flying their planes into the boats.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. So, they stealing the wealth from Mexico. Somebody is. Right. So the people not getting they all of this is belong to the people of Mexico.
Hey, there's a connection between, because when Madrid took over, because he was in connection with Bushnell, and Bushnell was connected with the Rockefellers, and the Rockefellers, John D. Rockefeller was the all Standard Oil, and they was down there in Mexico drilling for oil, Standard Oil. That's John D. Rockefeller now.
Now watch this. Put in Arizona oil wealth.
Oh shit. Somebody say, shit.
All of this came on the heels of the Louisiana Purchase.
All right. Oh yeah. Texas is the richest. Okay, hold up. What does it say right here?
Okay, it said they don't have an oil reserve.
Okay. No proof.
Or natural gas reserve. Okay, so put in New Mexico.
Yeah, they have collected 7.8 billion. Project can go okay, states all search Mexico.
It say the state accounted for more than 11% of total U.S. crude oil production.
What? That's a big number though. 10% is a big ass number. That's a big ass number.
Yeah.
That's like 100,000 out of a million.
Yeah, look at the number. Crude oil. 3.365 million barrels. That's 3,365,000,000 barrels of crude from New Mexico. Now remember, this all revenue that Mexico as a nation would have had they not annexed this. Now let's look at Nevada and California to see how much wealth is being stolen by the organic people from Mexico proper.
It says they 15 small oil fields in the 3 areas of state. All right, hold up. So it says Nevada.
It's not significant. Okay, now California.
All right, we got you. That's still a lot. The 10% just alone in New Mexico.
Yeah. Now that didn't even count what they getting as Mexico and what they would be getting if Texas was still Mexico.
1.8 million barrels is coming from California every day. Oh, it's consumed every day. Hold up. Damn, that's a lot of. Oh, this. Oh, and California has having now. Oh, will.
The question is, if they producing this much gas fuel in California, why is their gas prices so much higher on the West Coast?
Exactly. That's a good question.
All right, now, so we know that somebody's stealing money from Mexico. They used the treaties to annex California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Texas from Mexico. Texas became the Lone Star State. It's the only state that doesn't need congressional approval to sever from the Union. So the state of California, the state of Texas, if it decided to secede from the United States, can form itself up into many as 5 different independent nations. This is all in a treaty arrangement. Right? So now Texas got representatives in the Senate and Congress because they became a state. The same as with New Mexico, Arizona, California, and Nevada. Now, all of these people that they calling the illegals, this is what they stealing from them proper.
Fire, man.
So when we talk about the Indigenous Rights Act and reclaiming the wealth of the land, reparations is pocket change. It's a distraction. Because we got full right to the mineral wealth of the earth according to the motherland coming out of Big Mama house. Right? The coal and the gold. Or in this case, liquid coal, which is oil.
That's right.
Right? So when you're looking at people in poverty, don't think that their nation is poor because the people in poverty. Just realize that somebody's stealing the money at the top and not sharing the wealth with the people from the land. And the people need to be in the outrage. But the people are so busy trying to make their day-to-day life that the harder the taskmaster and the more oppressed they keep them, the less they can see their way out of the oppression. The guy, put this name in your Google. I want people to see who he is. His name is Emilio, Amilio Zapata, Zapa.
I got him. Yeah. We got his head right here.
This is DeMarcus Garvey of Mexico.
Oh, yeah. I made a movie about this dude.
They don't like us talking about him.
Let me blow him up.
Click the first picture. That's the one I like of him with the big Garvey mustache.
I got you. Let me get him out there. Let me get him. Right there. He look like Pablo S. he look like that dude. What's that one name? Not Pablo. Yeah, the other one that was working for Pablo. That they kept on arresting. The feds kept on arresting. He broke out. Not Gustavo. What's that dude name? Somebody drop in the chat. They know who I'm talking about. The one that was moving in the underground. Let me get him pulled up, right? Damn, what the hell just happened?
You were just in there.
Yeah, I'm like right here. I got it right here. Boom. I got a bigger hard drive on the way, so I'm gonna have this all neater. So I'm gonna have all your folders, every class we do saved up. Right, so, okay, where is it at? Boom, I got them right here. Oh yeah.
So Emilio's a
Chapo, yeah, Chapo. That's his name, Chapo. He look like El Chapo.
No, he don't look like El Chapo.
Yeah, darker though. He got the black. He got some black in him or whatever. A dark skin.
He was probably about my complexion. But listen, his name Emilio Zapata. We need to know about him.
Okay, go ahead.
Emilio Zapata was the freedom fighter that influenced Che Guevara. He influenced, he told Pablo Escobar what to do. Not Pablo Escobar, the famous Mexican
Pancho Villa.
Pancho Villa. This who gave him orders.
Okay.
Pancho Villa didn't like him. But the people knew that this man right here was the one with the solution to the national problem. So he got sold out by Pancho Villa for a movie career. Right? So Pancho Villa was flirting with the president of Mexico, trying to fight for liberation, and they came to